here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. First of all, I just have to say something about your curtains in the back.
Thank
Like
you.
those look like so much fun.
Yeah, I'm like, I work from home. I was working from home before the pandemic, and I was like, yeah, I gotta have some like cheery stuff that, just lighten up the place. Because, when you're working with nonprofits and grant writing, it can be very serious work because they're doing critical life-saving work. And
Yeah.
so a little polka dotted, colorful polka dotted background is always nice here and there.
That's fun. I like it.
Thank you.
So we are super excited to have you on with us today. I know we've been going back and forth since last year.
Yeah.
Learning about you, and I have been on your website and learning so much. But I want you to tell everybody who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, hello. My name is Angelina Osornio Torres, and I am the founder and CEO of Jelly Nonprofit Consulting. And what we do is provide grant writing and other support services for nonprofit organizations. Our services have grown kind of organically. People will ask us, well, hey, can you do this? Or can you do that? And that's kind of how we landed into additional work beyond grant writing, like project management, helping organizations work toward a certification or a license, for their facility. And so that's kind of what we do. So whenever unusual requests come up, we're usually game and we'll do it. We even help nonprofits with writing business plans.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys heard that. She does it all. If you have a request, just ask.
Yeah, just ask. If you don't see the service listed, just ask. And between my team and we probably will say yes.
I love it. So you've had quite a journey, actually, because you were working with nonprofits before you even got into your business. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey? Like why nonprofits?
Yeah. So so this is kind of, I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go old school on you. Okay. So back in the day, I was the lost, 19-year-old, didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was bartending, and people would come up to me and just talk to me and tell me their life story or seek advice. And I'm like, okay. Well, because of that experience, even though I was 19, what did I know about life, right? But, that experience inspired me to go into psychology because I thought I would want to be a counselor at some point in my career. That was my original plan, was to become a counselor. Well, I went and got my degree. I decided that was not the path that was destined for me. So I just started working with nonprofits, still not knowing what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I had this psychology degree, and I had ambition, and I have always had a desire to just help and, make the world a better place, in my own tiny way. I just wanted to make the world a better place. So my first job after college was working for an FQHC, which is a federally qualified health center. It's a clinic that serves the uninsured, underinsured, low-income, indigent population. And so I started there in registration. And then from there, I moved to the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council for the Concho Valley. And it's a drug treatment facility. They also have prevention services. And I was there for almost 8 years. But the second half of my time there, I was asked to become their new development director, which had not existed before.
Wow.
So, yeah, which is interesting because I had expressed some ideas and some, opinions on what we could do to help conduct a capital campaign, because they wanted to build a facility that would bring detoxification services to the community for the indigent and uninsured, which was not available at all in the community. and also expand their capacity to serve more people in their residential programs. So I had a wonderful CEO who really taught me a lot about that world.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a crash course in capital campaign management, grant writing, reporting, so much. And I realized like I fell in love with it. But so I was like, this could be great. And that was when the first seed was planted, that I wanted to be a professional grant writer. I wanted that to be my job all the time. I was not a fan of hosting fundraisers, planning fundraisers. I didn't want to go out and ask for in-kind gifts or solicit for, sponsorship. I was like, let me write applications and ask directly for funding that's going to go right into programs, right into supporting staff, and making the direct impact instead of doing the let's have an event and spend a lot of money on that and then try to raise money for the organization. So after I worked at the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council, I worked for an organization that served, it was a residential program for at-risk youth, and it was a ranch setting and everything, but it was very fundraiser heavy. And so after, being there for several months, I just thought, I can't do this. I need to just take a leap of faith and let me just, try this and just become a freelance grant writer. It's just, I was so unhappy at that point with what I was doing career-wise. It was just, the unhappiness was worse than the fear of what am I going to do trying to be a freelancer, and what if I fail? What if I can't support my family?
Right.
I was just like, I've got to do this. And so from there, I just started, and just with, I just, I was part of like some communities where you could contract out to be a grant writer, and then the middleman would get a cut of that. And so, but that's how I started getting my foot in the door with the freelance world. Like I already had a lot of experience with grant writing, but now it was time to prove myself independent from an organization. And so that's what led us to where we are today as Jelly Nonprofit Consulting.
That's amazing. I love that story, that idea of, thinking you're going to do one thing and having to completely pivot. I feel like that sometimes in my own life, because, not many people know this, but I have a degree in biology. And I am doing that work right now, but it seems so different from like running a nonprofit that's based on helping small businesses. And people are like, how did those two combine?
Yeah.
And you're like,
I feel you. I know. I was like, I was the bartender that wanted to be a counselor. And now here I am, like the way I'm not direct care. I'm not treating, I'm not counseling, but I am serving communities with the gifts that I have. And that is, let me sit in front of a computer and, write your story in a compelling way to help you get the revenue that you need to do what you need to do.
And that's such an important gift too, I think, because even for, not just nonprofits, but businesses in general, that is something like we struggle with. Like, how do you market yourself? How do you, you believe in you, but how do you make others believe in you?
Oh, I know. It's really hard. It's one of those things that's been very difficult because I was just always about let me make the connections I can. And I had been in the nonprofit world as a working professional here in our community for 10 years. So thankfully those connections helped me out. I also utilize the resources of the Small Business Development Center quite a bit, and I have good connections there. And so knowing people helped me some, but I have to give credit to my colleague, Erica Mullins. She's part of my team, and she's the hustler on the marketing side. She's the one making the connections. She's the one that is, just out there making sure people know that we're here, because I don't have time for that. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, today she was like, okay, remember, you've got to do this. Here are all the instructions, be there. And I'm like, yes, I am going to be there.
That is
Erica
amazing.
is the key for me. I mean, she's the one that helps me get out there so we can reach more people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's, and I'm like seeing comments. I'm like, yeah, marketing is a challenge. It is a challenge. And Erica, by the way, is amazing at social media. I was like, oh, look at her go.
Yeah, I know. She does it, and she loves it. That's the thing, is she loves that, and it always helps to have somebody on your team that can do that for you. And what she likes to do too, that is a bonus, I think, for our clients and friends of our organization, is she loves to share all of your stories and your successes. Mm-hmm. She will, promote the nonprofits that work with us, even if they're not clients of ours and they're doing great things. She's out there sharing their good work. And so that's, the really great thing about having somebody who loves what they do, and not only is promoting your business and what, you're doing, mm-hmm. but then she's also sharing the good works that the other nonprofits are doing.
And you're speaking about something that's really important too. I think it's just that teamwork and surrounding yourself mm-hmm. with good people and the right people. And it seems like you have like a really great team that's really helping you bring this to life, which I think is important for people to recognize and to understand, and for mm-hmm. nonprofits to know that like there's an awesome team in this.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I don't like to use the terms like employee or mm-hmm. subordinate. I've never been a fan of that. I will always, I'll refer to everybody as colleagues or team members, because that we collectively have to do this together. Yeah. If I didn't have the team that I have, I would still be sitting here like working with like one or two like clients and just trying to get by and pay the bills, and then that's it. Yeah. But it's also, I think, as a writer too, whether you're writing grant applications or writing a blog post or even writing something, just, a social media blurb, it really helps to have an extra set of eyes on the team. Mm-hmm. And, to be able to look and say, okay, are you at the point you need to be? And are you saying what you need to say? And as the writer, you have to be able to accept that constructive criticism and always be open to that feedback. And me, I'm like, we're a team. Everybody counts. I need to hear from you. I need some direction. I am not the, say all, end all dictator style of anything. I'm like, we collectively have to work together. And that comes also from my experience in the nonprofit world. If we're going to serve those in need, we have to collectively come together with our gifts and do that. Yes. Yeah. And the way I'm speaking right now, you could tell like I used to do coalition work, and like the metaphor they always used was everybody comes with their little backpack of gifts. Yes. And we all come to the table and meet, and we lay out our special gifts on the table to make the world a better place. And yes. You could tell like that just carries on into every aspect of my life.
I like it. I feel like I need to like have that motto with my team, because everybody's always like, you're the president. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
The president is the champion. You're the one that's like out there, the champion. But you really do need the team. And, and one thing that I've had to learn too is to delegate. I get real caught up in like I'm on this track and let me do it. And I have to remind myself, like, step back and let's delegate. Let's get other people involved, because we need all of those different perspectives.
Okay. I'm coming back to that, because I feel like we're on like this journey to like a leadership conference. I see that. I see that in your future.
Oh,
I see it in your future.
Well, thank you very much.
I feel like that's amazing. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about the things you've done in your journey, because I was looking at your site and you have some pretty good accomplishments. And I want you to talk about like the amazing things that you've done and the money that you've gotten for nonprofits.
Yeah. So our area of expertise are like public health, mental health, substance use disorders. That's like the bulk of like my background and my experience and a lot of what we see and the types of nonprofits we work with. My colleague Erica brings an expertise from animal rescue. So that's a totally, we're talking a real different type of nonprofit. And I have zero experience there or understanding there. And, and like a little bit about my business too, I should mention is I'm a virtual based business. Like my team, I've designed this business to be where people can work from home. It's very people friendly, very flexible. That was a big vision of mine for this as this business started growing. It's, let's be mindful that people are actually on the team. We're not just employees. And we have to abide by this very strict window of 8 to 5, blah, blah, blah. That's just not my style. It doesn't work for me. But so all of that, I lost my train of thought for a second. Oh my gosh, where was I at right before that?
You were talking about, oh my God, then it just, I was like, it was just there.
I was talking, and anybody in the comments, if they can remember.
I know, help us out. You guys help us out. It's been a long week and it's only Wednesday.
I know. It's just been a long week. But you were, money raised. There we go. Thank you, Erica. So we were talking about like the money that was raised and everything. And so with that background, I went in completely green. And so, I started my work in the public health sector with the drug treatment facility. And so I just started grant writing with a lot of guidance from my CEO there. And the big project, the big focus that we had was that capital campaign to build the new facility that I mentioned earlier for detox and everything. And so in that experience there, we ended up raising, it was a $6 million campaign. And originally it was a $5 million campaign. So whenever we reached 5 million is when I moved on from that workplace. And I had been there for like, 8 years, almost 8 years. And, but while there, we were able to raise like over 3 million in grant dollars alone. Wow. And then the rest were like pledges and donations. And then overall through my entire career from working there at the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council all the way to present day, we've raised over $11.4 million in grants,
Yes. That's amazing. That's amazing. Can we just give you a nice little clap?
Thank you. And the reason, this reminds me actually, the reason I started talking about, the different backgrounds and the virtual workspace is because I think it's important not only, with remembering that there are people working with your organization, but also it's nice to have people, team members based across the state or the nation. And so right now, like I'm based in the San Angelo area of Texas, and Erica's based in San Antonio. One of my colleagues is also in San Angelo. We have another colleague in Houston. And we're looking to continue growing, and we just want to bring in those different perspectives, those different experiences, and having that virtual workspace really helps. And then also bringing in those different people that have their experiences with fundraising or just nonprofits in general.
Yes. That's incredible. It's incredible. And let's talk about like where you see like Jelly Nonprofit Consulting happening in the future. Like, where do you see you going? You're already kind of picking up extra things and extra projects and doing things other than grant.
To start with, like in the next 5 years, I would really like it if we were serving nonprofits in the major urban hubs of Texas with our services. So I would really like to be able to, get into, break in larger with the San Antonio, Austin section of the state, and then like the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. I would love that. Houston and like El Paso eventually. So like just kind of growing in those different ways. That's what I'd like to see like in the next 5 years. And we're starting to get, we've served nonprofits in San Antonio. We've served them in DFW. And of course, here in the region that I'm be able to start becoming more established in these other states.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So I was thinking about sustainability and the ethical portion of that. And I think the thing for me, as you were talking about, working virtually, working remotely, and, putting such an emphasis on your team, I wanted people to connect that with sustainability and the importance of that when talking about things in this realm. Because, we typically think of only the environment or like animals or, like natural things. But I think the importance of taking care of people and taking care of your team and the impact on them is such a huge part of sustainability. And I just want to put that out there when people are like, why are we talking about this? I'm like, there's so many different aspects of that. So.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I think that, that's just such an important piece is, going back again to that human aspect. Like, this last year was extremely difficult and we were tested unlike ever before. And so, with that, I think it's really important to be mindful of the mental health of your team members and what kind of care and support are we. They need some flexibility to be able to have time for self-care.
I did want you to mention like any small little tips or advice that you have for nonprofits or even businesses getting started in different realms.
Okay, so like for businesses in general that are getting started, I really encourage you to learn more about your local small business development center. They provide almost all of their services for free. You will receive guidance on, how to handle your finances, establishing your business legally, and so many tips. You can get some marketing guidance and things like that. And so for businesses in general, I really encourage that. And your local SBDC is usually affiliated with the local university. And also, it's just, most of it's free. It's just great. It's a great resource. And so I just encourage people to do that. And then for nonprofits in general, we're talking about grant writing, I encourage nonprofits to carefully do their research to make sure that the funding opportunity aligns with their organization. Don't pursue grant funding and try and reshape your organization to fit the funding stream. You need to find funding streams that are going to serve your organization. So that's like the biggest tip I can give people, because you don't want to lose sight of your mission and your vision. And so like stick with that when pursuing grant dollars. Don't try and just reshape who you are or go in a different direction just because there's a financial opportunity.
That's some really good tips, actually. And so to close out, can you tell everybody where they can find you, your different platforms and your website?
Yes, so they can find us online at jellynpc.com. That's for Jelly Nonprofit Consulting. And when you go there, our social media links are just right there on the top of the website. We're on Twitter, Instagram, obviously, Facebook, LinkedIn. So just Jelly Nonprofit Consulting. We have a unique name, and the story behind the name is Jelly is actually my nickname for my mom, Angelina Jelly. So she would call me Jelly or Jelly Bean, and so that's how I came up with the business name.
That's awesome. It's so cute.
Well, there are just a couple more points I wanted to make here at the end.
Yeah.
You know, we are a woman-owned business. I am the first generation daughter of a Mexican immigrant, and so you know, it's just I think it's important because the nonprofit sector in particular is really diverse in their workforce.
Right.
Their team members, you know, that's probably the most diverse sector out there is that nonprofit sector. And so, you know, I think it's really important to mention that. And the more we see in diversity, the more that we see Black, Indigenous, people of color coming and working, you know, together and serving our communities, like that needs to be recognized and celebrated.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Because you know what, you know, we're here, we're providing very valuable input and experience. And, you know, a lot of us know the communities may be in need a little more than, you know, some other representatives. And so I just think that's really important to mention.
It is. It's very important to mention. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
So definitely we'll probably want to bring you back on another time because you have an amazing business model and it's just incredible what you're doing. And I'm really excited about having you in this community.
Well, thank you so much. I've absolutely enjoyed the times I've visited with you. And I swear you always have like the cutest glasses. And I love your style. And I just wanted to throw that out there because that's important to know.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it was so great talking with you, Angelina. Thanks.
Thank you. And you have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.